Aragon, Danielle Gonzalez.
Here.
Barbara Peterson.
Here.
Josefina Dominguez.
Here.
Courtney Jackson.
Here.
Crystal Tapia Romero. Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Here. Our next item for consideration and action is approval of the December 18th, 2023 Finance Committee agenda.
I will move for approval of the December 18th, 2023 Finance Committee meeting agenda.
I'll second. This is Josefina.
So I have first with Gonzalez, second with Dominguez. Let's go ahead and have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. Our next item for consideration and action is approval of the minutes from the Finance Committee meeting on November 29th, 2023.
I will move for approval of the minutes from the Finance Committee meeting on November 29th, 2023.
I'll second. This is Danielle.
So first by Jackson, second by Gonzalez. May I have a roll call, please?
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. So our next are our action items. We're going to go to 4.1, which is approval of grant budget adjustment for the following grants. The ESSER round 2, 2023-2024 in the amount of $111,439. We have our presenters.
Thank you. Members of the board, Dr. Blakey presenting for your consideration of approval, the grant management budget adjustment for the month of December 2023. It is the last round of out-of-school time allocations going to 2 of our charters. And I did not see anything out of the ordinary, and I stand for questions. Thank you.
Any discussion, questions?
I'll move for approval of grant budget adjustments for the following fund of ESSER round 2.
The out-of-school time. Okay, we have a motion, a second.
I'll second.
All right, we have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. Next item is 4.2, approval of the November 2023 interfunction transfers for grant budget.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, Dr. Blakey presenting for your consideration of approval, the interfunction transfers for grant management for the month of November 2023. At this time of the year, it's usually pretty mellow across all budget transfers as the schools are getting ready to finish the the first semester. So I did not see anything out of the ordinary, and I stand for questions.
Thank you. Any discussion? Motion?
I'll move for approval of the November 2023 interfunction transfers. Is that the one we're on? Is that the right one?
Yes,
We're on
4.2.
intra.
We're on interfunction.
Oh, inter.
You were right.
Inter.
You were good.
Okay.
I'll second. This is
Interfunction.
Danielle.
All right, we had a motion by Peterson, second by Gonzalez. May I have a roll call, please?
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. So our next item is approval of the November 2023 intra-function transfers for grant budget.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Blakey presenting for your consideration of approval, the intra-function transfer for grant management for November 2023. I did not see anything out of the ordinary, and I stand for questions.
Any questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll move for approval of November 2023 intra-function transfers for grant budget.
I'll second. This is Danielle.
All right, may I have a roll call, please?
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. So our next item is 4.4, which is approval of the November 2023 interfunction transfers for all non-categorical funds. I have Miss Julianne Hicks.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, this agenda item requests your approval of 6 interfunction budget transfers using non-categorical funds. 3 schools use their at-risk funds, 2 schools use their general ed funds, and 1 department used their general ed funds. Can I answer any questions?
So do I have any discussion, questions, or I have a motion?
I'll move for approval of November 2023 interfunction transfers for all non-categorical funds.
I'll second. This is Danielle.
All right, have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes,
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. So our next item is 4.5, which is approval of the November 2023 intra-function transfers for all non-categorical funds. Whew, that's hard to say.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey. This agenda item requests your approval of intra-function budget transfers using non-categorical funds. The majority of these budget transfers fell into two buckets. One was the annual fine arts teacher alignment to aligning the budget to match where the teachers actually landed for the year. And the second bucket is we also did transfers to schools for the first semester site supervision stipends.
Oh, yay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. I didn't know if you were gonna call for questions. I move to approve the November 2023 intra-function transfers for all non-categorical funds.
I'll second. This is Josefina.
Have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
yes,
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. Our next item is 4.6 is approval of statement of equipment to be taken out of service for August and September of 2023. Mr. Turnbull is here to help us with this one.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, again, this is for disposal items. Equipment to be taken out of service for August and September 2023. Stand for questions.
Any questions?
I'll move for approval of the 2023 of equipment to be taken out of service for August and September 2023.
I'll second. This is Josefina.
Have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes,
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. And I just want to say I really appreciate reason this is going so quickly is because we've got such succinct information that's given to us and appreciate the response to questions. So we'll move on to 4.7, which is approval of removal of equipment reported as missing from July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2021.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey. Again, this is for removal of equipment, missing equipment from July 1st, 2015 through July 30th, 2021. This equipment, the reason we're bringing this to the board is to remove this equipment from the district's assets records. And I stand for questions.
Any questions?
I say there are none. I move for consideration of, I motion to approve removal of equipment reported as missing from July 1, 2015 through June 30th, 2021. It's good to purge.
I'll second.
All right, let's have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
yes,
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. Next item is 4.8. Consider approval of grants, of gifts, grants, and donations of more than $5,000. We have a donation. We got that in there. Donation of $8,000 to Chaparral Elementary. Oh my goodness, hang on a second. Chaparral Elementary School from the Hazel Baker Foundation.
Okay, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, again, for your approval, a donation of $8,000 to Chaparral Elementary School from Hazel Baker Foundation to help fund the weekend food program at the school. So I stand for questions.
I will gratefully move that we approve the gift grant and donation of more than $5,000 for Chaparral Elementary School.
I'll
in the
second.
Hazelby Garden.
This is Danielle.
Have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson,
Yes,
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. Our next item is 4.9, and this is approval of the district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds $250,000 for high-quality instructional materials program for the K-5 English Language Arts, Spanish Language Arts, and the English Language Development. Our presenter is Ms. Gensler from Procurement.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Dr. Blakey, I'm here to request consideration and approval for high-quality instructional material programs for K-5 English Language Arts, Spanish Language Arts, and English Language Development. The suggested vendor is Savas. This is utilizing both an exemption 13-1-98E and cooperative for the federal funds. The estimated cost is $8 million over a 7-year contract using both operational and federal funds. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Go ahead, Ms. Peters.
I would appreciate just a sort of general rationale for why this is the program that was chosen and what kinds of things the actual teachers, real life, honest to goodness teachers who will be using these materials, what were the strengths that they saw in it? And if you could talk really specifically too about the Spanish literacy portion of it and how representative it is of our community.
Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, it's a pleasure to be before you. We were hoping we would continue with the run of approvals, but here we are, happy to answer the questions. Before I defer to the response for that question, I would just like to recognize the team before you who worked really hard to get here. And they've taken a lot of input from the board over the last few cycles for the adoption of instructional materials. And I'm just very proud of them. I'm going to defer to our Director for Instructional Materials, Ms. Altabelli, who can speak a little bit about the process and get to some of your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Board President, members of the board, Board Member Peterson, I am delighted to answer this question because I think we have indeed worked incredibly hard to really, really live the board goals and guardrails and the principles of high quality instructional materials. One of the ways that we've done that, especially with elementary, where one teacher will be teaching ELA, SLA, and ELD, is the working group and steering committee at the elementary level that contained together more than 100 teachers, district staff, representatives from LCE, special education, Indian Ed, Title I, equity. They developed this really exceptional scoring tool that had, I believe, 10 factors. I'm not looking at it right now, so that might be incorrect. But in each one that we asked teachers to look at every stage and give evidence, there were also as a part at the bottom for bilingual classrooms, for English learners, like through that perspective. So we didn't only look at the strength of the Spanish language arts materials or the, ELD materials or supports for students in special education. We looked at everything together. When we're looking at representation, how is that for our students in bilingual programs? When we're looking at, is this going to encourage our students to collaborate with each other? We looked at that in terms of, the ELA and the SLA. We had the opportunity to do field testing for the first time, and that was amazing. We got such incredible, rich information from the field testers that not only helped us be confident in our recommendation, but I truly believe will help us continue to build, because we have obviously started working on how to implement. We have all this information on how it worked, and the feedback we got from pilot teachers, they loved it. We made sure that we had bilingual program teachers as field testers. We made sure that there were students that there were special education teachers. We did our level best, although there is always more to do. And if there is something that we have missed, please tell us, because that is how we are growing. So we do want to know if there's anything we've missed so we can do it better next time. But we worked really hard on that. And I want to thank all of the teachers and community members and everybody that gave input in every possible way to help just get so much input. There can always be more input, but those are some of the things that we did.
I think having a chance to pilot it, even with the limited number of teachers, is really important. So I'm happy to hear that. I think that's all I have for the moment, in case someone else wants to ask a question.
Any other questions?
I
Go
don't,
ahead.
well, I sent my question in and got the response today. So thank you for that. And I want to build on what you just said. The difference between the information that we've received for this adoption is light years different than the information that we received 2 years ago. So it is very obvious the work that you guys have put into this. Even, you know, with me asking just the questions about the graph, right? Yes, thank you for being willing to say, you know what, that's something that we missed, and we'll build on that for next time. So I think that with each process that you guys have gone through, it is getting better and better, which is then alleviating the need for us to ask so many questions, because the information that you have presented is amazing. And the one thing I just wanted to highlight, I don't know who put together this document, but it was exceptional. Whoever responded to this, it was exceptional. I just want to point out, it said building on trust and engagement created in previous cycles. We've now done one cycle at every level and believe that our changes in behavior and process may encourage teachers to be more interested in changing their behaviors and processes as we all work together to improve student outcomes. I don't think you could have said it better. We're all trying to change our behaviors. What happens in the boardroom happens at the curriculum development, happens as we move down. So I appreciate the information, and I just kudos to you. You guys have obviously put in a lot of hard work to get to this point. So thank you.
Go ahead.
I wanted to comment on the following piece. And well, actually, you repeat this idea twice: building on trust and engagement. And that is critical if we are to move the needle on professional development. And of course, we know that when there is that engagement of teachers, I think great things happen in the classroom where they're supposed to happen. So I really appreciated your analysis there, and the fact that this is a goal, right? Future goal. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions? No, I just will say also thank you for the responses. Mine were mostly around anticipation of delays. You know, do we anticipate what that may look like? Because we're not going to actually even be implementing until really late. And I know that we've already been through a cycle where we've adopted something and we're in the process of implementing. And so I'm curious, you know, as we're watching ourselves get a new one, adopt a new one, and actually implement it, have you noticed, what are you noticing around that piece of adoption that hopefully we may need to take, you know, into this next round, aside from it maybe being delayed from the publisher?
Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Blakely, what we're noticing is that there is stronger engagement. Teachers are giving us very specific and positive feedback about the professional development that we're putting in place for Odell now. And then we have plans already to start with approval to move forward with middle school implementation and professional development this semester. And I think we're noticing the fruits of our labors. The adoption team did a great job of enlisting input, participation, and engagement from all stakeholders. And it's really helped break down silos that we've functioned under in the past. And we now collaborate from professional development to adoption to just creating documents, making sure that each department has their lens over the work we're doing, because we all share the same desire for student outcomes. And we know that that's part of the behavior change that we need to make in order to result in positive student outcomes.
Thank you. So did I have a motion?
You did not.
I do not. Okay.
So I will move to approve the district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds $250,000 for high quality instructional material program for K through 5 English language arts, Spanish language arts, and English language development.
I'll second. This is Josefina.
Great. May I have a roll call, please?
Danielle Gonzalez,
Yes.
Barbara Peterson,
Yes,
Josefina Dominguez,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson,
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. So our next item is 4.10, which is approval of the district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds $250,000 for high quality instructional materials for the 6 through 8 English language arts.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Member of the Board, Dr. Blakey. I'm asking for your consideration and approval for high-quality instructional materials program for the 6 through 8 English language arts. The recommended vendor is Amplified, using the exemption again of 13-1-98E. And that's for operational funds, and a by-board cooperative for use of the federal funds. The estimated cost is $3.5 million over 7 years. And I'm happy to answer questions.
I haven't had a chance to catch up on this one.
I'm just going to comment. I think it was Amplified that it has full novel, no excerpts, music to my ears as an English teacher. Finally.
Okay.
yes.
Any other
Yes.
questions or items on this? I'm sorry, because I'm still catching up here.
This is actually, I could have gone back and looked, and I have to confess I didn't go back and look at my notes from when I looked at them. I know one of the programs had a really strong writing component in it, and that really caught my eye because especially second language learners, lots of times the way they really grapple with language and the alphabetic system is from their writing. And so I'm curious if one of the programs we selected, was it, I think it was Savas, but in the middle school selection, is there a writing component?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Board Member Peterson, I am texting one of our middle school specialists right now. The middle school program that was available for public review. I'm just going to let Mary Kraft answer this question.
Hello, board members. Thank you for that question. And yes, this has a very strong writing component to Board Member Peterson. Teachers have loved it. It scaffolds and differentiates based on the level of the student. Once they submit writing, it gives them sentence stems, it chunks the writing. So our ELD teachers, our special ed teachers, we even have an inclusion teacher and a special ed ELD teacher who have used it. They said their kids were writing more than they've ever written. When it asked for 120 words, some of their kids were submitting 300 or 400 words. So it was amazing for them.
So real books and writing. And with that, I'll move for approval.
Man.
Let's see, district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds $250,000 for high quality instructional materials, program for 6th through 8th English language arts.
I'll second Josefina.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Danielle Gonzalez,
Yes.
Barbara Peterson,
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson,
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. So our next item is 4.11, approval of the district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds 250,000 for stop loss insurance premium.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, I'm asking for your consideration and approval of stop loss insurance premium. This was based on an RFP put out and awarded in 2021. It is the suggested, it's a 4-year contract. It's for the approval of stop for the 2024 stop loss insurance premium. That's just a mouthful for me. For 1,190,100. I don't know.
You could put your hat back on.
1,190,719 with Tokyo Marine HCC through Aon Consulting, utilizing operational funds, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I will move for approval of a district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds $250,000 for stop loss insurance premium.
I'll second. Josefina.
Have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez,
Yes.
Barbara Peterson,
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson,
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. Next item is 4.12. This is approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds 250,000 for insurance premiums. Skinsler.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, I'm asking for your consideration and approval for insurance premiums. This is utilizing Palms and Associates to purchase the insurance for the district. It's for the premiums with an estimated premium cost of $5.567 million for the next calendar year based on present trends, utilizing operational funds, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Any questions? Consider a motion.
I will move for approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds $250,000 for insurance premiums.
I will second.
Have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez,
Yes.
Barbara Peterson,
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson,
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. Our next item, it's like, oh, my computer just went weird. Hang on a second. I just lost it. All right. Anyhow, the next one is 4.13, approval of the November 2023 cash disbursements.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, and I am asking for your consideration and approval for the November 2023 cash disbursements. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'll move for approval of the November 2023 cash disbursements.
I'll second. This is Danielle.
Right. I'll have a roll call, please.
Danielle Gonzalez,
Yes.
Barbara Peterson,
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez,
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. So our next item is discussion. It's an update on the fiscal year 2024 budget, and our presenter is Ms. Rosalinda Montoya. And I also see Renette Apodaca here with her as well. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, I am here to present an update on the fiscal year 2024 budget. Next. So in this presentation, we will have the FY24 budget update, budget versus actuals, and an FY25 projected revenue, and then an update to our ESSER funds. Next. So as you'll see in this operational budget wheel, in December, we are working on the templates, the budget templates that will be going out. We're changing dates, making necessary adjustments and testing for any changes to ensure the formulas are working correctly. And the next slide is our budget versus actual. So that first column, the 923, 594, 386 is the budget that we had for this fiscal year. Our year-to-date expenditures are 316,938,596. And we have encumbered $743,743,773. And then our balance, if you'll notice, has gone down significantly from last time. It's 76,992,249. And I just wanted to make sure that I clarified that the balance is what is left to spend this fiscal year from January to 2024 to June 2024. And it is our hope that we will spend all of that money down. And so we have the analysts, the budget analysts are working with the schools and departments to remind them of any remaining funds that haven't been encumbered and haven't been used yet. And we're hoping that we'll utilize all the funds that were given to each of the departments and schools. So the next slide looks like a busy slide. It's our projected revenue. And as I think Julianne mentioned last time, there's a lot of different parts that affect the revenue. There are two portions that we have received now that are actual numbers that we can put in there. One of them was the TCI index, and the other is the National Board Certified number. That number has gone down from 573 to 390. So, there's a lot of different things that could affect this. One of them is probably a lot of retirements, possibly, and the newer teachers that are coming in may not yet be nationally board certified. So there's probably going to be a little dip, and then hopefully next year we'll see that number go up again. But so this budget that's in white, it's just a projected revenue so far, but each little item, as we get more information, we'll be updating it, and then we'll have a better number. It's still, we're projecting that it'll still be higher than last year's revenue, just due to, we're hoping that the unit value will increase, just because we've had a lot of people out there, letting legislators know that the ESSER cliff is coming, and hopefully they'll help us with a little bit of that. And plus, we already know that a couple of things have been mentioned, that possibly a 4% increase to all salaries. So I put that in the factor so far, so that it would, that increases it, because it all comes into these numbers. So that's it for that one. And then the next one, this is pretty exciting because it's our ESSER funds update. And one thing that you will notice is that we are moving along quite well. We have 83% of the budget either spent or encumbered. And so that's pretty good, because we still have 6 months to go. And the ones and we still have a lot of individuals. We have been meeting with each of the departments that have part of this budget, and everyone has said, they're getting those POs in there. And so next month, hopefully, or at least the following month, you'll see almost all of the budgets encumbered. The nice thing is we're seeing some that budget remaining is really going down. There's 0 in the other allocations, which is the charter school allocation, and it's going really well, and we feel like we will be at the point where we will have spent all of the funds that were given to us. And with that, I stand for questions.
I'll just open it up to the floor. I have a question. So on the slide 5, where it's the whole budget, where it's broken down by the different areas, where does the top schools fit into that? Like, how are they funded with and like, is that coming in at the? I'm just curious how is it funded in that?
If you see these, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in that tier 2. It's like kind of, let's see, right above total program units, there's the K-12 plus units, tier 1. That's what we received for the additional, going to the 1040. And then any additional things in the top, since they had additional days and hours, they gave us a little bit extra for that.
Okay.
So that's where it kind of comes in.
And so this particular funding is dependent on whether they're going to continue that, right? So they gave us grace with this and said, we'll have the additional hours for everybody. But if they go beyond that 1140, this is how they funded it.
Yeah, what happens is right now we're funding it through ESSER because we made it go an extra year because it was pretty much going to be going away. So, but it did help us that little tiny bit to give us a additional bump in our revenue. But yeah, moving forward, we're not sure exactly what we're going to be able to keep moving forward. And I don't know if you wanted to.
So we do have some schools that will be impacted potentially because the cliff is coming and they wouldn't be funded going forward with that TOPS model.
Yeah, and it's all a lot of it will depend also upon the calendar that we have and how, there's a lot of different little factors that will add into this.
Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, to provide some additional information on the top schools. So at this point in time, as Executive Director Montoya mentioned, it is mostly funded through operational and braided on the extended day with ESSER ARPA funding with ESSER 3. But meanwhile, we have worked with the top schools to look for additional revenue. And some of them are looking into the community schools that in the second year of implementation, that funding could be allowed to support the extended day. And they're also looking into the MRI, CSI, ATSI funding, which we have been communicated that if they fall under any of those, they can use the funding to continue their top programs.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think one of the frustrations with that is that when we invest and there's progress, then the progress means that the support that actually got them there goes away. And that's something that, it's what plagues us year after year after year with education is as soon as it's working, somehow there's this belief that can continue without the supports. So, that's just something for those of us that are in a position to be talking to legislators and other folks we need to be doing, because we know you are doing everything you can to work magic.
Okay. I do have some more questions, but go ahead.
Just to piggyback on that, I was heartened today when Charles Sully made that very same observation at the New Mexico Taxation Research Institute. So they're listening.
Good. Another question that I have is on the either before or after school programs, are those also covered under ESSER? So that would be the middle school before school program. How did we fund that one?
It was out of ESSER.
Out of ESSER? So have there been conversations in terms of what would happen with the calendar? It just depends on the calendar, I would suppose. So that before school programming, which as I understand has been really instrumental in helping our kiddos because of that late start. So curious about where that would fit. So that would be another one that's, okay, that's what I thought. Then another question, what's our deadline to encumber for school? So we've noticed that you said hopefully they get there, but what's the deadline for encumbrance?
For schools or for the district?
both. I mean, so we have this deadline to encumber, because if we don't encumber, then we have the opportunity to flex it around or move around. But as I understand with ESSER, it's really hard, right? Because you have to go through lots of doors and windows and channels to get it approved. So what's our drop dead date on that?
Should have everything encumbered by February.
Okay. So that's coming up quickly. So if it's encumbered by February, we still would have.
That is our goal.
That's our goal.
Tentative drop dead deadline, and it's not yet fully confirmed by New Mexico Public Education Department, is 9/30/2024, liquidated by 10/31/2024. Again, we don't have a clear confirmation on it.
Yeah, but just
And that would be really too late.
I would say it would be horribly late.
Because
Yeah.
there's no way you could go to even come to the board with things in 1 month. So for us, we're saying that the deadline is way sooner than that.
Yeah.
And the deadline to bill for it for reimbursement is November 1st by 5 p.m. So the turnaround time would be unmanageable.
Okay. So and I'm just thinking ahead for the board is really looking at what balances we have left, right? So that we can make sure we can either put them in quickly to something else, because I understand that process to get it approved has to go through many channels before it can even get approved, correct? I mean, it's very tight, very tight.
Yes, for anything over $5,000, we have to submit a form to PED. They have to give us approval. We have to wait for their approval. Once we get their approval, then we can start moving forward. Then, of course, we have to bring it to the board. We have to, so there's a lot of things. Then the purchase requisition has to be put into place depending on how they're going to fund that. So, so we're hoping that everybody has everything in by February. So probably in the March board, we should see almost everything encumbered. That's our hope.
Okay, well, hopefully there's a lot of conversation going on about like really pressing, because if it's not spent, or there's not a plan for it, the chances of that even getting approved are going to be slim to none. Okay, and then just naively, because the board certification numbers were down for the teachers, and you had said new teachers, and I just didn't understand this part. For teachers who have national board certification, do they have to do anything to maintain that licensure, or is it just once they have board certification, it's done? I don't know that. So I was wondering if there was continuing ed that was required or something, and is there something that perhaps was also a limiting factor for that?
Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Blakey, there is a recertification process for national board certified teachers. I believe that it is every 10 years. Okay.
All right. And so I would assume there's a cost to that, correct?
There is, and it's quite comprehensive and detailed in presenting essentially a renewed portfolio of illustration of their professional practice that's involved as part of their recertification.
So it would be interesting to know if that drop included some of those folks, right? That either needed to go through that recertification process and couldn't do it, or for some reason that there was something that lapsed. I mean, I would just be curious about that. That was what struck me a little bit, because that's a pretty big drop. That's a significant drop. And I'm just curious how much of that was attributed to people, retiring with us, but how much of that was also attributed to folks who just chose not to go through recertification because it was a hindrance or a barrier.
We can dig into those numbers further and get back to you.
Okay. All right.
I wonder, I'd be curious if, and this wouldn't impact, this wouldn't be reflected in the previous drop, but I am curious if the schedule this year, especially for elementary school, is making it harder for people to deal with that portfolio, because there's a lot involved.
Okay. All right. It was just startling to me in terms of the number. It was a big number. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much. We're happy to have you back.
Thank you.
Right, so our next Finance Committee meeting will be Wednesday, January 24th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Will be held here in the Allison Bruce King Educational Complex, and it will be live streamed on aps.edu. And with this, we stand adjourned for the committee meeting, and we're going to adjourn. We're going to open up our next meeting. All right. So now we're with the Board of Education's special board meeting, and I would like to call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Peggy Mueller Aragon. Danielle Gonzalez.
Here.
Barbara Peterson.
Here.
Crystal Tapia Romero. Josefina Dominguez.
Here.
Courtney Jackson.
Here.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Here. Let's see, where are we? Our first item for consideration action is consider approval of the December 18th, 2023 Special Board of Education meeting agenda.
I move to approve the December 18th, 2023 Special Board of Education meeting agenda. This is Courtney.
I'll second. This is Danielle.
May I have a roll call, please?
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. So the next item is consideration action and approval of the consent agenda. This is for items 3.1 through 3.13.
I'll move for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second. This is Josefina.
May I have a roll call, please?
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. All right. So our next item is we're going to go into executive session. This is consider approval for the Board of Education to convene an executive session as authorized by the Public Meetings Act, Section 10-15-1 H7, to discuss pending litigation in relation to the JFS, AC, and ML versus Albuquerque Public Schools, Jason Hollis Reynolds and Anthony Griego D-202-CV-2020-5169. Do I have a motion to convene into executive session?
I will move that we convene in an executive session as authorized by the Public Meeting Act. Do I need to read all of it?
No, we'll just say as stated.
I'll second. This is Courtney.
All right. May I have a roll call, please?
Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes.
Barbara Peterson.
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes.
Courtney Jackson.
Yes.
Yolanda Montoya-Cordova.
Yes. All right.